G'day and welcome to another episode of the Inforunners. Today I'm joined by Mr. C6 and of course I'm Execute. And today this episode is on the Banu Defender, one of my favourite ships, one of the ships that we've talked about so many times in the past. On paper, this ship is the best fighter. It is, that like on paper, the best. But is it actually the best when you get it in game? So, that's what we're here to talk about. Seer, what do you think of this ship, man?
Jesus beams.
I used to call
Jesus beams.
I used to think of it as a Ming vase in space because like those front ends before they fixed them used to break off so badly in the PTU.
If anything, people will remember me that I invented the word Jesus beams for those singed tachyons.
This is a ship that speaks to me when people talk about luxury. I look at this ship and I find it very luxurious to look at. I don't find the Origin ships are very luxurious. This speaks to me as a luxury ship.
Aliens,
yeah, and of course it's an alien ship. The second race that we've seen, and we've got Tavaran coming at the end of the year. A lot of people turned off because it looks like a giant crab. I think it's kind of cool. What do you think about the crab? Let's just like the elephant in the room. What do you think of the crab?
Simple. I like it. I think it's funny. There you go. That's all we need to say about the crab.
I'll start with my only kind of negative. Well, it's probably not my only one, but my big gripe with this ship is that they didn't learn from the Constellation, and it lands on its arms, and you can literally have an arm blown off and still land on this thing. Like invisible landing gear comes out, and I'm not a fan of that. But you know, down the line, that's probably something they'll address, and instead of like landing on invisible landing gear, you'll just fall over. Which I think should be a downside to some ships. I honestly do. But it's like a Sabre. It's got 4 size 2 guns, and it's got 2 beds. I don't think we're going to get to see that the real working together 2-player gameplay in this ship to a bit further down the track till we actually see those more multiplayer elements come into account. So that's something that you can't really judge. What are some other ships that you find that this is similar to, Seer?
I find it similar to the Saber. I mean, not the Saber Raven. The Saber and the 325A, only because I mean those are some of the. I don't know. I like the 325A, and I melted my 325A to actually get the Banu Defender because I was like, I'm not really a cargo running person for. I mean, I do cargo hauling, but I use a Caterpillar, so why do I need a 325A? Well, I was like, I have a dedicated cargo hauler. Get rid of the 325A. And I used to swear by that because of the whole fuel thing, which we still don't even know how it's going to work really yet. But I mean, let's compare them. So I have the Saber.
The other one I want added into that is the actual Reliant series because it also has 2 people. I think it doesn't have the utility that the Tanner has, obviously with being able to carry a little bit of cargo and the different variants of that ship, but it still does have that really cool 2-player working together mentality. So I'd like to chuck that in there as well. But yeah, go ahead.
Don't you have 3 players that can go into the Tana? You
technically,
got the pilot, co-pilot, and you got the person that can be in.
But technically, you could do that in this ship as well. They just can't sit down. So yeah. But there are not many ships. Let's be honest. You go through the myriad of ships. I can only the Super Hornet. And then you've probably got the Gladiator, and then it starts to get a lot bigger on things like the Vanguard and etc. and it balloons out quite quickly. But going into
the stats, we have the Saber, we have the Banu Defender, we have the Tana, and we have the 325A. So the Saber is really theoretically the one ship that legitimately can only carry one person because it has an actual cockpit inside. You have to crawl into it, kind of like your traditional fighter, like an F-16, small, compact, agile. And then you have the best one in terms of crew capacity being the Reliant Tana, because you can hold 3 people, like we just mentioned a second ago. 325A, even though you could pack people in there like sardines, you can have someone in the bed, you can have someone at the actual controls, so you can take someone around. They can look at the view from above, and then obviously the Banu Defender. You have 2 people, and then you have gun racks, and then you have the 2 beds. so you can make it like a very, very minuscule poor man ship, drop ship, excuse me. In terms of cargo, the only two that carry cargo is the 325A that has 4 SCU, and the Tana has 1 SCU, I believe, something around those lines.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
one.
now we start getting to the actual combat side of it. Believe it or not, when it comes to turning, what on your which is you like you're turning left and right. The 325A actually has a high turn rate,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Saber has the lowest turn rate.
Yep.
And then the 325A, since it is an interceptor, it has a higher SCM speed, but the SCM speeds for the max speed for the Saber and the 325A max out. Then the what is it? The Tana has the worst max speed, and then the Banu Defender just comes right behind them, and it's pretty interesting. But I mean, in terms of shields and stuff, this is the interesting part
Mm.
because I'm not going to compare all of them, but
I think this is where
let's look at
the
the
defender
Banu
part,
Defender.
yeah, comes in. Yeah,
This
go
is what
ahead.
you guys need to
Yeah.
account. So we already mentioned the guns. You can hold either 4 gimbaled size 2s or 4 fixed size 3s. It's at your discretion if you're a gimbaled or fixed person. I still fly fixed sometimes, even with auto gimbals, because of the sake of I don't PvP, I PvE. So I'm going to do more damage against an NPC. I don't care about auto gimbals unless it's like a freelancer miss, which is just, like you only can have you have gimbal turrets, so you're gonna have auto gimbal regardless. Anyways, furthermore, excuse me, I don't even care about the missile loadout because theoretically in the future it's going to have EMP missiles. Let's look at the systems. So you have 1 size 2 shield generator instead of 2 size 1s. And this is I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be proprietary. And the Banu Defender, just from this one shield generator, guys, has like almost 37,000 HP from just this one shield generator. But your delay recharge time takes a massive hit. This is the high health pooled shield type. You have the shields that are like the happy medium, you have a good amount of HP, and you have a balanced recharge rate like 8.5 seconds, 10 seconds. This one is the type of shield generator, and I guess this is how Banu is per lore. I'm not sure, don't quote me, but this looks like it's a high shield generator capacity with a really terrible delay time because it's 30 seconds. That means a delay after dropping. So that's interesting. And then it's just you're going to spike once you start recharging, but that's the other thing. You have a beacon for your size 1 quantum drive. Not the best, not the worst. I think the Firefox, something like that's the best one. I think with the fastest drive, yeah, it's still the Firefox. Then you still have the two you have your two excuse me, yeah, 2 power plants, and you have your 2 coolers. So the only thing you lose is you have 1 shield generator, which is actually pretty interesting. What do you have to add for any of that? Is there anything you want to tag
I
along
think
to that?
it kind of talks into how the ship is going to play. Like when I logically work through this in my head, it is being designed to defend the merchantman. It catches me as a sniper craft, a ship that's meant to hit you at long range and kind of almost draw you away from the merchantman. And I think the shields even speak into that because, like, if I keep hitting this ship, it won't be able to recharge its shields. But while you're hitting it, the merchantman's going away. And I think that all plays into what it's designed to do. It is a kind of like a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. It's like we'll fly off and you shoot us and you guys can leave. That's kind of
Isn't per lore that's how the Banu are? They sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
yep. So it all kind of leads into that for me. I'm just, as I said earlier, I'm kind of interested to see how the interactions between the players work in this ship. I think it is going to have similar interest to me to the Reliant because I think this is a little bit more combat focused. I think when you look at something like the Reliant, you can obviously see it's designed to have a little bit of everything so the starter players can get a little bit of cargo and everything. And yes, while it would be nice for this ship to have the cargo, it's assumed that the merchantman will have the cargo. And that's why this doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next part comes in is obviously if this is docking with the merchantman, they must still sleep in this ship. So therefore,
So
in
they
a
can be on
really
high alert.
yeah, in a really cool way, they just wake up and go. They don't have to wake up, run down the hallway, and get in their suit and all that stuff. They can just wake up and go.
And ship logging out for the new player, because believe it or not, ship log out has been working extremely
Yep.
well for this patch. I landed on Yula on my Connie Phoenix, and I did like a walk around, stretched my legs, got the view, walked back
Yep.
in, logged out for 2 days, came back in. I was still on Yula, and I was like, oh,
Well,
well,
that's a
hello there. This is awesome.
that's also going to lead on to the merchantman itself because then there's going to be less beds in there and then more space for actual things in the ship. So I
Exactly.
think that's a really cool thing. Um, as I said, on paper, this kind of mirrors the Saber a lot. I
Saber
think,
has 3 shield generators, so I mean the recharge rate and redundancy is a little bit better. But I mean, hey,
yep,
you still got a kick-ass quantum drive effect
yep.
because it's an alien.
But
Same thing with
if you're not
Heart's
happy
Wall.
with that really large shield that takes 30 seconds, there's no reason you can't swap it out for a more normalized one.
I haven't tested that.
And that's the other thing you're going to need to test. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this
I
thing
know
is all
that's bespoke.
shields. But if you got a really high refresh rate shield on this ship, it could be insane. Like you might never ever break through them. Again, it's got a medium sized power generator on it, and that's much bigger than most fighters. To put that in perspective, they usually say 3 of the one below is equal to the one above. So 3 smalls is equal to 1 medium, but the medium is still just so much more powerful again that it has other advantages. So you correct me if I'm wrong, but there is not another fighter that has a medium unless it's maybe something that's larger like the Vanguard.
No, but let me put my theory into play.
Right.
Okay, so the best size one shield generator you can get is the Palisade.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7,920 shield capacity with an 8-second shield delay.
Mm-hmm.
So that one that gives you the, like I said, the higher health pool,
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing delay. I mean recharge delay for the higher health.
Yep.
So it has, if you have a saber and you have 3 of them,
Mm-hmm.
you're only doing 23, you only have 23,760 shield HP between all 3 of
Mm-hmm.
those, compared to the Banu Defender, who still has 10,000, over 10,000 more HP in terms of shields from its one size 2 proprietary
Mm.
or bespoke shield generator that it comes with. So that, if that doesn't mean something for like the saber, that's able to have a really nice shield tank, then like wow, like
Mm.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get exactly what I mean. And I think it actually gives this ship a bit of variety too, being able to have that proprietary shield but still use all the others. You can tailor this, you can trick people because they're not going to know what components you've got unless they do a really
No,
thorough scan. So you can make them think
the
they've got a
the
really big
scan
shield.
even the scan, it doesn't even tell you what components they're using,
Yeah.
and they
It, it,
got rid of the EM and IR signature now,
it,
which drives me nuts. So
it
I
will,
can't
it will in the
gauge.
future though. And that's the
Yeah,
important part. I think aesthetics is a really big part of this ship, a lot more
they did a
so than most
fantastic
other.
job on it.
It is real. Like I take this ship and I logically, progressively move it out across what the merchantman could be, and it's like holy crap! That like I'm thinking like an Aztec temple that flies through the skies type of thing. You know, like
Again, this reminds me of
yeah,
Prometheus.
yeah.
I'll keep saying that,
Yeah.
even if
I can
people
say that.
disagree with me. To me, I think it's
I
like
was,
from
it's
Prometheus.
probably a little bit more gold than Prometheus, but I see
Yeah,
your
yeah.
thought
They
process.
have they have more luxurious, but like the inside, the I almost said the aircraft, the ship feels like it's actually living.
Yeah, it's
Feels like
organic. Reminds me of the Farscape, the TV series called Farscape, where that was a living ship.
Mhm.
And the way I kind of look at it, if you kind of look at it from the inside looking out, is it's almost like an organic ship that's been dressed up in armor. With the gold crest stuff all covered around it. So, we could not know how the Banu make this stuff. They might grow this, a part of it and then add stuff onto it. It could be some half bionic, half crafted ship, which I think would be quite cool.
So so here's the question for the new player: do you think for what, like $225 or $20, do you think the new player would want this? Who do you think? Who would you recommend this to?
Yeah, so that's a tough one. I think anyone with a Banu Merchantman is definitely someone that would be very interested in this ship.
Because they're supposed to have some kind of gameplay that go
Yeah,
together.
if you're
Correct?
playing, yep, and if you're playing with a mate, I think this may interest you as a combat craft. If you are really close with your mate and you do everything together, I think it would be
Bromates.
Yeah, bromates. I think there are other options that you can go into. Say you were using the Reliant and you went up. If you're really combat, I could see this. But I think there are other ships that would be a bit more jack of all trades or a bit more, non-combat orientated. But yeah, as I said, mainly people that are that have a merchantman because of that said synchronization with the merchantman. And if you kind of logically work it through, I was saying this to you the other day, Seer. A lot of people think it's going to somehow dock with a merchantman. I'm going a little bit differently. It's got really long, really large fuel tanks. Why would you give it really large fuel tanks if it's just going to dock with a merchantman? So I'm thinking it might share some kind of warp bubble, which allows it, when it's with the merchantman, to travel at the same speed as the merchantman, which makes a lot of sense.
Theoretically, all ships currently do that. You
What?
can
No, 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 no,
spline
no, no,
jump
no, no,
and
no,
you
no,
go
no,
to the lowest
no.
denominator.
Yes, exactly. But it doesn't go to the lowest denominator. This ship increases to go at the same speed as the merchantman.
But then we need a better quantum drive.
No,
And
because it shares the warp bubble of the merchantman.
Oh, shares the warp bubble.
Right?
Okay, so it's going to be some hand waving of magic then.
Yeah, so some kind of Banu magic. Woo, and that's my logical thought process, because they've shared it. It said it shares with it. It's meant to run with it all the time. It makes a lot of sense. That means it still uses its own fuel, but it actually is somehow powered in a warp bubble by the merchantman. Now that makes a lot of sense, because that's just a couple of lines of code. That's not like this whole, we've got to make a docking system. The other advantage is there's no physical difference between a normal merchantman and one that's taking Banu Defenders. So if you don't want to take Banu Defenders, you just don't take Banu Defenders. But if you do take it, they can go at the same speed. That's my guess of what's going to happen. You can give me yours in the comments, because I know there's a million different ones. But that's just where my process of thinking has gone. All right.
We'll see.
Is that everything you wanted to do, Sir? Anything else you want to add?
Well, in terms of combat, just be aware that if you lose an arm, you lose what? You lose one gun for sure, because you have, like you already can see in the picture with the little herald spinning around, that there's two tachyon singe. There's two Jesus beams on the crab arms, and then there's two that are like underneath each flight deck, if I remember correctly. Yeah, near the missiles. So if you lose an arm, not only are you going to lose some of your maneuvering capabilities, because you have some maneuvering thrusters along the arm, and the bleed effect is cool, but
those
you're losing firepower.
Those EMP missiles, if they're anything like the EMP is at the moment, but heaps smaller, this ship could be quite aggressive. Because if you can EMP someone and they're disabled, and you're just sitting there going pew 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 pew, one EMP missile could equal one dead ship. It depends it depends how
I don't think
long
one
they lock
EMP
down.
missile. Yeah, I feel like if you shoot all four, yeah, you're going to disable them. But all you got to do is just press R and then boom, and you're going to fly around. So I feel like you're going to shoot an EMP missile. It's going to assist in getting rid of their shields, so then you can just do straight hull damage.
As I said, it depends how they work. If they're just like a shield reduction mechanic, then okay, it's just assisting. But if it literally is like an EMP and it shuts them down even for a second or two, that's going to have some serious advantages. Even if it doesn't hit them, just they're moving to counteract the missile. We need to make an
episode on EMPs too.
Yeah. Add it to the list.
The way I want them to work is they hit you and it messes up your HUD. Like you lose something like your radar cuts out for a bit, so you can still shoot them, but you can't lock them or something like that.
So it goes all manual, and you lose your digital stuff. Like
you lose an avionics system, like an actual EMP would happen. But,
so I have to wait and see on that regard. But yeah, look, I'm really happy overall how this ship turned out. I'm really excited to see where Banu is going to go in the future. It also makes me really keen for other alien ships coming down the road. it is the only fighter I own. So that should tell everyone a lot. It is the
think it's the
only
same with me.
fighter I own.
I think
Right?
so for me too. I got rid of all my
And
other fighters.
I don't own any ship under $200 except this. Right? So that also tells you what I think of this ship. I really like it. But it is a lot of vanity. Like, you've got to like the look of that stuff, and you've got to want that team play, working with other people. I'm really a big fan. That's what drew me to Star Citizen, was the ability to play games together with other people in a multiplayer environment.
But do not make us too biased in terms of your bang for your buck. It's not that good for your bang of a buck. For
No.
$220,
Alien
you can
tax.
get. I can get a freelancer and have a better bang for my buck.
Yes.
And still have some money left over to get a dragonfly, or you could get a cutlass. You could get a cutlass loot and scoop pack and still have money left over with $220.
The only
which will provide you more flexibility.
The only thing I'd add to that, though, because of the alien tax, generally they've stated alien ships will be harder to attain in game, especially if they're not Asperia made. Right, so things like the Scythe, as an example, are going to be a lot. You can get them, but a lot of them aren't even going to be able to be insured. Like, so if you got a Scythe in game, you won't be able to get LTI insurance on it. That's why that thing costs so much if you buy it on the black market. This, I think you'll be able to get insurance with, but you'll probably have to go to a special dealer in UEE space or all the way to Banu space to get one. And it'll probably be the same for the Merchantman.
And it's like we're gonna get like really crappy insurance on it, so
that's it. And you're probably gonna have to pay a premium.
No one's gonna be able to, like, I don't know what to do with this thing. I don't know how to fix this. This is not my stuff. You got to go into like Banu space and get it fixed, or you got to go into you're gonna go into Vandal space and get a ship fixed.
You might have to get those tachyon cannons overnighted from Amazon. Across Jesus 4 systems. Yeah. Pray that they make it in time. So there's a little other things down the road that we haven't seen that's going to work, but as I said, if you've got a Merchantman, definitely worthwhile picking one of these up in my book, and I've got one, and that's the whole reason I got one. All right, we'll wrap it up here. What do you guys think of the Banu Defender? Did you get one? Did you not? Do you like the way it looks? Are you happy with how it turned out? Are there too many question marks up in the air for you? If you like this video. If you dislike this video, dislike the video. We do read every comment. Discord, if you want to.
We try to, at least.
Yeah, I have to whip them all with sticks. It's terrible. I just motivate them all
I'm
with
terrible
cattle
at
prods.
reading comments. I'm terrible at reading comments because I have my own YouTube channel. So then I'm like, oh shoot, I need to go to the Inforunner and see if anyone's talking shit about Seer 6 because everyone hates Seer the 6th.
No, they don't.
Which I don't know why.
It's all good, man. We love you here. It's all good. All right.
No, I appreciate it.
Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll get back to you guys. All right. Catch you all next time.